The morning sky above Earth changed forever when the alien ships appeared. Commander Hyun-woo Kim stood on the observation deck of the space station, watching the massive vessels emerge from what looked like tears in space itself. The ships were huge, bigger than any human-made craft. They moved slowly but with purpose toward Earth. "Sir, we're getting signals from the alien fleet," said Lieutenant Park at the communications desk. Her voice shook slightly. "They're broadcasting on multiple frequencies." Hyun-woo walked over to listen. The message came through clearly, translated by their computers. The voice was deep and strange, but the words were understandable. "Inhabitants of the third planet, we are the Velthari Collective. We have returned to reclaim what belongs to us. 30,000 years ago, we left equipment on your world. We demand its immediate return." The commander felt his heart racing. 30,000 years ago, humans were still living in caves and hunting with stone tools. What could these aliens have left behind? Down on Earth, Dr. Ji-won Park was in her laboratory when the emergency alert came through. She had spent most of her life studying strange artifacts that didn't seem to belong to any known human civilization. As a scientist who studied ancient objects, she had always wondered about some unusual items found in different parts of the world. The phone rang. It was her assistant, Minho. "Ji-won, are you watching the news? There are alien ships in space, and they're talking about something they left here long ago." Ji-won quickly turned on her computer and saw the news reports. Her hands began to shake as she thought about the crystal-like objects she had been studying for years. They had been found deep in ice in Siberia, and no one could explain what they were or how they got there. In another part of the world, Captain Do-Hyun Lee was preparing his ship, the Aurora, for what might be the most important mission in human history. The Aurora was Earth's most advanced spacecraft, built with technology that had taken decades to develop. But now, looking at the alien ships through his view screen, Do-Hyun realized their technology might be nothing compared to what these visitors possessed. "Captain, we're getting orders to approach the alien fleet," said his co-pilot, Sua Young. She was young but brilliant with technology. "Command wants us to try to communicate directly." Do-Hyun nodded. "Let's go meet our visitors." Meanwhile, aboard the largest alien ship, High Curator Thexelon looked at the planet below with confusion. He was old, even by Velthari standards, and he remembered the last time their people had visited this world. Back then, the planet's inhabitants were primitive creatures who barely understood fire. They had posed no threat to the Velthari survey mission. But now, as he studied the data coming from the planet's surface, Thexelon saw something impossible. The primitive creatures had built cities. They had developed technology. They had even traveled to space. "How is this possible?" he asked his aide, a younger Velthari named Kexvar. "Our records show these beings were barely intelligent when we last visited." Kexvar checked his instruments again. "Sir, the readings are correct. These humans, as they call themselves, have developed far beyond what should be possible in such a short time." Thexelon felt troubled. The Velthari had left behind some of their equipment when their scout ship crashed during the last visit. They had assumed the primitive humans would never find it, and even if they did, they would never understand it. But what if they had been wrong? Back on Earth, world leaders gathered in emergency meetings. President Chen of the United Earth Government spoke with his advisors. "What do we know about what these aliens are looking for?" he asked. General Yunbi Kang, head of Earth Space Forces, pulled up a holographic display. "We've been checking our archaeological records. Dr. Ji-won Park has been studying some unusual artifacts found in Siberia. They might be connected to what the aliens want." As the hours passed, Captain Do-Hyun Lee brought the Aurora closer to the alien fleet. The ships were even more impressive up close. Their hulls seemed to be made of materials that Earth science couldn't identify. They moved without any visible engines or propulsion systems. "Aurora, this is the Velthari vessel Eternal Wisdom," came a voice over the communication system. "We wish to speak with your leaders about the return of our property." Do-Hyun responded, carefully. "This is Captain Lee of the Earthship Aurora. We are prepared to discuss this matter, but we need to understand what exactly you're looking for." There was a long pause. Then Thexelon's voice came through, sounding surprised. You have developed verbal communication and space travel? This is unexpected. Dr. Jiwon Park was now working around the clock studying every piece of unusual technology or artifact that had ever been found on Earth. As she looked at the crystalline objects from Siberia under her microscope, she noticed something she had never seen before. The crystals seemed to pulse with a faint energy, almost as if they were responding to the presence of the alien ships above. "Minho, look at this," she called to her assistant. "These crystals are reacting to something." Minho peered through the microscope. "The energy readings are increasing. It's like they're trying to communicate with something." Meanwhile, aboard his ship, Thexlon was reviewing the scan results of the planet below. His instruments were detecting energy signatures that matched Velthari technology. But the readings were strange, as if the technology had been modified or changed somehow. "Kexvar, scan the northern continent more carefully," he ordered. "Focus on the area your data shows has the highest energy readings." The results made Thexlon's skin change color, a sign of shock among his people. "Impossible," he whispered. "The energy signature is our technology, but it's been improved." On Earth, as night fell over the Siberian research site, Dr. Jiwon Park made a decision. She gathered her team and prepared to travel to the location where the crystals had been found. If the aliens wanted their property back, she needed to understand what it was and what it could do. The stage was set for a meeting between two civilizations that were far more connected than either had realized. The Velthari had expected to find the same primitive creatures they had left behind 30,000 years ago. Instead, they discovered that humanity had not only survived, but had grown into something they never expected. As the alien ship settled into orbit around Earth, both species prepared for revelations that would change everything they thought they knew about intelligence, technology, and the vast universe around them. Dr. Jiwon Park stood at the edge of the excavation site in Siberia, watching her team work in the freezing cold. The alien ships had been in Earth's sky for 3 days now, and the whole world was waiting to see what would happen next. The crystals she had been studying were definitely connected to the visitors above, and this frozen dig site might hold the answers everyone needed. "Dr. Park, we've found something big," called out her student, Tae-Hyung-yoon. He was kneeling next to a section of ice that had been melted away with special equipment. "It's not just crystals down here. There's something that looks like metal." Jiwon hurried over to see what Tae-Hyung had discovered. As she looked into the hole they had dug, her breath caught in her throat. Buried deep in the ice was what clearly looked like part of a spacecraft. The metal was unlike anything she had ever seen, with a surface that seemed to shift and change color in the light. "Get Professor Minho on the radio," she told her assistant. "He needs to see this right away." Professor Minho Choi arrived at the site within hours, flying in on a government aircraft. He had been Jiwon's teacher years ago and was now one of Earth's leading experts on ancient technologies. When he saw what they had uncovered, his face went pale. "Jiwon, this changes everything," he said quietly. "This isn't just some artifact. This is a complete alien spacecraft." Meanwhile, in space, the Velthari were conducting their own investigations. Scout Kexvar had been sent down to Earth in a small ship to get a closer look at the planet's development. He was young for a Velthari, only about 3,000 years old, and he had never seen anything like what he found on Earth. Flying over the planet's cities, Kexvar was amazed by what the humans had built. Their buildings reached high into the sky. Their roads connected vast distances, and their technology seemed far more advanced than it should have been for such a young species. "High Curator," he reported back to Thexlon. "These humans have developed technologies that are remarkably similar to our own. Their energy systems, their communication methods, even their spacecraft designs, all show influences that match our scientific principles." Thexlon received this news with growing concern. "Are you saying they have somehow accessed our technology?" "It appears so, sir. But that should be impossible. Our crashed ship was buried deep in ice." "How could they have found it?" Back at the Siberian site, engineer Sua Yang had arrived to help study the alien spacecraft. She was known throughout Earth's scientific community for her ability to understand and work with any kind of technology. As she examined the buried ship, she began to notice things that made her very excited. "Dr. Park, look at this," Sua said, pointing to a section of the ship's hull. "See these connection points? I've seen similar designs in our own spacecraft systems." Jiwon frowned. "What do you mean?" "I mean that some of our most advanced technology uses principles that are very similar to what I'm seeing here. It's like someone studied this alien ship and then built our technology based on what they learned. As the team continued to excavate the spacecraft, they made more and more discoveries. The ship's power systems used energy crystals very similar to the ones that had been found scattered around the world over the past century. The communication systems operated on frequencies that Earth's scientists had only recently begun to understand. Most shocking of all, the ship's computer systems used logic patterns that matched the most advanced artificial intelligence programs humans had developed. Professor Minho was the first to understand the full meaning of what they were finding. "Jiwon, I think I know what happened," he said as they sat in their temporary shelter that evening. "Over the past 100 years, people have been finding pieces of this alien technology all over the world. Small fragments, crystals, metal pieces. Scientists studied them, reverse-engineered them, and used what they learned to advance human technology. You're saying that our technological development has been influenced by alien technology this whole time?" Jiwon asked. "More than influenced," Minho replied. "I think it's been guided by it. Without realizing it, we've been building on the foundation that the Velthari left behind 30,000 years ago. This revelation sent shockwaves through Earth's government and scientific communities. If human technology was based on alien designs, what did that mean for humanity's achievements? Were they truly the inventors of their advanced civilization, or had they simply been building on someone else's work?" Above in space, High Curator Thexlon was coming to his own shocking realizations. His detailed scans of Earth showed that the humans had not simply found his people's technology, they had improved on it. The power systems in human spacecraft were more efficient than Velthari designs. Their communication networks were faster and more reliable. Their artificial intelligence systems were more sophisticated. "This is impossible," he told his council of advisors. "How can a species that was barely intelligent 30,000 years ago have surpassed our own technological development?" "Perhaps," suggested one of his advisors, "we underestimated their potential from the beginning." Scout Keksavar, still orbiting Earth, was studying human technology more closely. What he found disturbed him even more than it had Thexalon. "Hi, Curator. I need to report something important. The humans haven't just copied our technology. They've made it better." "Explain," Thexalon ordered. "Their spacecraft move faster than ours. Their energy systems produce more power with less fuel. Their communication systems have a range that exceeds our own capabilities. Somehow these humans took our 30,000-year-old technology and advanced it beyond what we have achieved in the same time period." This news created division among the Velthari fleet. Some of the alien leaders began to see humanity as a threat. If these former primitives could advance so quickly, what might they become in another few thousand years? Other Velthari leaders saw opportunity. Perhaps this young species could teach them things about their own technology that they had never considered. Back on Earth, Sua Yang was making the most important discovery of all. As she worked deeper into the alien ship's systems, she found that many of them were still functional. The power core still held energy, the computers could still be activated, and the communication systems could still reach across space. "Dr. Park," she called excitedly, "I think I can turn this thing on." "Is that safe?" Jiwon asked. "The power readings are stable, and the systems seem designed with safety features. I think the ship's builders wanted it to be repairable if it was ever found." As Sua worked to activate the alien systems, she began to understand something remarkable. The ship wasn't just a spacecraft, it was a library. Its computers contained vast amounts of information about Velthari science, history, and technology. But more than that, they contained information about other alien species the Velthari had encountered. "Professor Minho, you need to see this," Sua called out. This ship has records of dozens of different alien civilizations. The Velthari aren't the only intelligent species in the galaxy. When the ship's main computer finally activated, it began transmitting a signal directly to the Velthari fleet above. The message was simple but profound. Systems online. Awaiting orders. High Curator Thexelon received this transmission with amazement. After 30,000 years, their lost ship was finally calling home, but the signal included something he hadn't expected: detailed reports on everything the ship had observed about human technological development. As he read through the reports, Thexelon realized that the situation was far more complex than he had thought. Humanity hadn't simply found and copied Velthari technology. They had studied it, understood it, and then improved upon it in ways that even the Velthari hadn't considered. For the first time in thousands of years, Thexelon felt something he hadn't experienced since his youth: surprise at the capabilities of another species. These humans were not the primitive creatures the Velthari remembered. They had become something entirely unexpected, and that realization would change everything about how the two species would interact going forward. The activation of the alien ship changed everything. Within hours of Suoyang successfully bringing the ancient Velthari systems online, governments around the world were scrambling to understand what it meant. The ship's computer had immediately connected to Earth's communication networks and begun downloading information about human technological development. Admiral Yunbi Kang stood in the command center of Earth's main space defense station, watching the data streams flowing between the buried alien ship and the fleet above. As head of Earth's space navy, she had to prepare for any possibility, including the chance that the aliens might not be friendly once they fully understood what humanity had accomplished. "Admiral, we're tracking increased activity in the alien fleet," reported her communications officer. "It looks like they're repositioning their ships and activating what might be weapon systems." Yunbi felt a chill run down her spine. "Get me Captain Lee on the Aurora immediately, and prepare all our defensive systems for possible activation." Meanwhile, Dr. Taehyung Yoon was having the most important realization of his career. As a theoretical physicist, he had spent years working on faster-than-light travel experiments. His research had been based on energy patterns that he thought were purely theoretical, mathematical concepts that might someday lead to breakthrough discoveries. But as he studied the data coming from the alien ship, Taehyung realized that his theoretical work wasn't theoretical at all. The energy patterns he had been studying were identical to the propulsion systems used by Velthari spacecraft. Without knowing it, he had been reverse engineering alien technology for years. "Sua, you need to see this," he called to the engineer who was still working inside the alien ship. "My faster-than-light experiments. They're based on the same principles as this ship's engines." Sua looked up from the alien console she was studying. "That's not surprising. I think almost all of our advanced technology has roots in Velthari science. The question is how much of what we've built is actually better than what they originally designed." To answer that question, Sua began running comparison tests between human technology and the alien systems. What she found was shocking. In almost every area, human improvements had surpassed the original Velthari designs. Human power systems were more efficient. Human computer networks were faster and more flexible. Human materials science had created substances that were stronger and lighter than what the aliens had used 30,000 years ago. "It's like we took their foundation and built a completely different house on top of it," Sua explained to Dr. Jiwon Park. "We used their basic scientific principles, but we developed them in directions they never thought to explore." Aboard the Velthari mothership, War Prime Dexter was reaching very different conclusions about humanity's technological advancement. As the military leader of the fleet, he saw human progress as a direct threat to Velthari superiority. "High Curator, these humans have become dangerous," he argued to Thexelon. "They have taken our technology and made it into weapons that could threaten our entire civilization. We should destroy them before they become even more powerful." Thexelon was not convinced. "Dexter, they have shown no hostile intentions toward us. Their improvements to our technology show remarkable intelligence and creativity. Perhaps we should try to understand how they accomplished so much rather than simply destroying them." Understanding them is a luxury we cannot afford, Dexter replied. Our own records show that we are not the only species in the galaxy. If humans continued to advance at this rate, they could become a threat to everyone. The debate among the Velthari leadership was interrupted when Captain Do-hyun Lee brought the Aurora closer to their fleet. The human spacecraft had been modified, based on some of the discoveries from the alien ship, and Do-hyun wanted to demonstrate humanity's current capabilities. Velthari fleet, this is Captain Lee of the Aurora, he transmitted. We would like to show you what human technology can do, so you can better understand who we have become. What happened next surprised everyone, including Do-hyun himself. As the Aurora performed a series of maneuvers around the alien ships, it became clear that the human spacecraft was faster and more maneuverable than any of the Velthari vessels. The modifications Sua-yang had made based on alien technology had created something that surpassed its original inspiration. Scout Kexvar, watching from his smaller ship, was amazed. High Curator, their spacecraft is outperforming our own vessels. How is this possible? Thexalon studied the readings from the Aurora's flight. It appears they have combined our propulsion technology with innovations of their own. The result is more advanced than anything we currently possess. Back on Earth, the implications of these discoveries were creating intense discussions among world leaders. President Chen called an emergency meeting with his top advisors. If our technology is based on alien science, does that make us thieves? He asked. And if we've improved on their technology, does that make us competitors or partners? Admiral Eunbi Kang spoke up. Sir, I think the more important question is what happens next. These aliens could see us as a threat and try to destroy us. Or they could see us as equals and want to work with us. We need to be prepared for either possibility. Dr. Ji-won Park, who had been invited to the meeting, offered her perspective. From what I've observed, the Velthari seem more surprised than angry. I think they're trying to understand how we accomplished so much, just like we're trying to understand their technology. Meanwhile, Sua-yang was making another important discovery inside the alien ship. As she explored deeper into its computer systems, she found records that suggested the Velthari themselves had once been in a similar situation. Their technology appeared to be built on foundations created by an even older alien civilization. Dr. Park, you need to see this, Sua called out from inside the ship. The Velthari didn't create all this technology themselves. They found it and improved on it, just like we did. This revelation changed the entire dynamic of the situation. If both humans and Velthari were building on the work of earlier civilizations, then neither species could claim complete ownership of the technology. They were both inheritors of ancient knowledge, not original inventors. When this information was transmitted to the Velthari fleet, it created even more debate among their leadership. War Prime Dextor saw it as proof that humans were dangerous, imitators who couldn't be trusted. But High Curator Thexalon began to see it differently. Perhaps, Thexalon suggested to his council, we have more in common with these humans than we thought. They have taken ancient knowledge and built something new with it, just as we did thousands of years ago. Scout Kexvar, who had been studying human culture as well as their technology, offered another perspective. High Curator, I have observed something interesting about human behavior. They seem to value cooperation and learning from others. Their entire technological development appears to be based on sharing knowledge and building on each other's discoveries. As the day ended, both species found themselves facing the same question. What should be the relationship between two civilizations that had both inherited and improved upon the same ancient technology? The answer would determine whether the next phase of their interaction would be cooperation or conflict. Captain Do-hyun Lee, orbiting Earth in the Aurora, looked out at the Velthari fleet and wondered what tomorrow would bring. Humanity had proven they could match alien technology, but that might not be enough. The real test would be whether they could find a way to work together toward common goals or whether fear and pride would drive them apart. The stage was set for decisions that would shape the future of both species and determine their place in a galaxy that was far more complex and interconnected than either had realized. The Velthari fleet had been in Earth's orbit for 2 weeks, and tensions were rising on both sides. The aliens had discovered that humanity had not only found their ancient technology, but had improved upon it in ways they never thought possible. Now they faced a difficult decision. Should they treat humans as equals, destroy them as a potential threat, or try to control them as subordinates? High Curator Thexalon called a meeting of the Velthari High Council aboard the mothership. The debate that followed would determine the fate of both species. "We cannot allow these humans to continue developing unchecked," argued War Prime Dextor. "They have advanced too far, too quickly. In another 1,000 years, they could surpass us completely and become a threat to our entire civilization." "But they have shown no hostile intentions," replied Peacekeeper Zalwyn, an elder Velthari who believed in diplomatic solutions. "Their improvements to our technology show remarkable creativity. Perhaps we should learn from them, rather than fear them." Thexlon listened to both sides before making his decision. "We will test them," he announced. "If they can prove they deserve to be treated as equals, we will consider alliance. If they fail, we will decide their fate accordingly." The test he proposed was ambitious, a technological and tactical challenge that would demonstrate whether humanity was ready to take its place among the advanced civilizations of the galaxy. It would involve both space combat and cooperative problem-solving, designed to show not just human capabilities, but their character as a species. On Earth, Ambassador Nari Lim received the Velthari proposal with mixed feelings. As Earth's chief diplomat, she understood that this test was probably humanity's only chance to avoid being conquered or destroyed. But she also recognized it as an opportunity to prove that humans belonged among the stars. "They're proposing a series of challenges in deep space," she explained to the Emergency Council of World Leaders. "Some will be competitive, testing our military and technological capabilities. Others will be cooperative, testing our ability to work with them on complex problems." Admiral Yunbi Kang was skeptical. "It sounds like they're treating us like children who need to prove we're ready for adult responsibilities." "Maybe that's exactly what they're doing," replied President Chen. "And maybe that's not entirely unfair. Compared to them, we are children. The question is whether we're mature enough to earn their respect." Captain Jinwoo Song was chosen to lead Earth's defense fleet for the military portion of the test. He was younger than some of the other candidates, but he had proven himself to be one of humanity's most innovative tactical thinkers. His fleet would include the Aurora under Captain Do-Yun Lee, along with 6 other of Earth's most advanced spacecraft. Remember, Admiral Yunbi briefed the fleet commanders before they departed. "This isn't just about winning or losing. It's about showing the Velthari who we are as a people. Fight smart, fight honorably, and show them that humans can be trusted with power." The test location was in deep space, far from both Earth and the Velthari home systems. When the human fleet arrived, they found the aliens had constructed an elaborate testing arena filled with obstacles, targets, and challenges that would push both species to their limits. High Curator Thexlon greeted the human fleet personally. "Welcome, humans. Today you will have the opportunity to prove your worth. The tests are designed to challenge not just your technology and tactics, but your wisdom and character. Are you ready?" Captain Jinwoo Song responded for all of humanity. "We are ready, High Curator. We thank you for this opportunity to show you who we are." The first test was pure combat, human ships against Velthari vessels in a simulated battle scenario. The aliens had the advantage of experience and numbers, but the humans had the advantage of desperation and innovation. Captain Do-Yun Lee, piloting the Aurora, immediately noticed something important about Velthari fighting tactics. They were advanced but predictable, following patterns that had probably worked well for thousands of years. Human tactics, developed through centuries of warfare on Earth, were chaotic and unpredictable by comparison. "All ships, implement random pattern 7, Jinwoo ordered over the communication system. This was a tactical formation that had never been used before, created specifically for this battle based on what Sua Yang had learned about Velthari technology. The result surprised everyone, including the humans themselves. Their modified ships, using improved versions of Velthari technology, outmaneuvered the alien fleet at every turn. The humans didn't just hold their own, they dominated the battle simulation. Scout Kexvar, observing from the sidelines, was amazed. "High Curator, they're not fighting like any species we've encountered before. Their tactics are completely unpredictable, but somehow still coordinated." Thexalon watched the battle with growing interest. "They think differently than we do. That could be either very dangerous or very valuable." The second test was cooperative. Both human and Velthari crews were required to work together to solve a complex engineering problem, repairing a damaged space station using limited resources and time pressure. This is where the differences between the two species became most apparent. The Velthari approached the problem methodically, following established procedures and protocols. The humans approached it creatively, improvising solutions and combining technologies in ways the aliens had never considered. Engineer Sua Yang found herself working directly with Velthari technicians for the first time. Despite the language and cultural barriers, she discovered that the aliens were impressed by human problem-solving methods. "Your approach is very unusual," commented one Velthari engineer, "but it works remarkably well. How do you develop such creative solutions so quickly?" "We're used to working with limited resources," Sua replied. "Humans have always had to make do with what we have and find new ways to solve problems. I guess that makes us good at improvising." The cooperation test revealed something important to both species. Humans and Velthari had different strengths that complemented each other perfectly. Velthari had vast knowledge and experience, while humans had creativity and adaptability. Working together, they could accomplish things that neither could achieve alone. But the most important discovery came during the final test when Dr. Jiwon Park made an observation that changed everything. She had been studying the test arena itself, and she noticed something strange about its construction. "Captain Song, you need to see this," she transmitted from her research vessel. "The materials used to build this test arena, they're not Velthari technology." "What do you mean?" Jinwoo asked. "I mean the metal, the energy systems, even the computer networks controlling this place. They're all based on technology that's older than anything the Velthari have, much older." When this information was shared with High Curator Thexlon, he ordered an immediate investigation. What they found shook both species to their core. The test arena had been built using technology that was thousands of years older than Velthari civilization. It had been left behind by another species entirely, one that both humans and Velthari had unknowingly been learning from. "This changes everything," Thexlon admitted to the assembled human and Velthari leaders. "If neither of our species created the foundation technologies we've been building on, then neither of us can claim superiority over the other." Peacekeeper Zalwyn was the first to understand the full implications. "We are all inheritors, not inventors. Both our species have been students, not teachers." The discovery humbled the Velthari and elevated humanity to a status of true equality. If both species were building on the work of an ancient, unknown civilization, then their relationship had to be based on partnership rather than dominance. War Prime Dextor, who had argued for destroying humanity, found his position completely undermined. If the humans are fellow inheritors of ancient knowledge, then destroying them would be like destroying our own history. Captain Jinwoo Song, speaking for all of humanity, offered the alliance that would reshape both civilizations. "High Curator, our species have both been given gifts by those who came before us. Perhaps it's time we work together to understand what those gifts mean and what responsibilities they carry." As the test concluded, both species realized they had passed a different kind of examination than either had expected. They had discovered not just each other's capabilities, but their shared heritage as inheritors of ancient wisdom. The real test now would be whether they could work together to unlock the secrets of the civilization that had shaped them both. The discovery that both humans and Velthari were inheritors of ancient technology changed everything. In the weeks following the test, joint research teams from both species worked together to explore the deepest archives of the Velthari ship buried in Siberian ice. What they found there would reshape their understanding of the galaxy and their place in it. Dr. Jiwon Park led the archaeological team deep into the recovered alien vessel. The ship was much larger than they had first realized, with sections that extended far underground. As they explored deeper, The technology became increasingly sophisticated and increasingly alien, even to the Velthari themselves. "Sua, look at this," Jiwan called to the engineer who had become her partner in understanding alien technology. "These computer systems in the deepest part of the ship, they're completely different from everything else we've found." Sua Yang studied the ancient consoles with amazement. The technology was so advanced that it made both human and Velthari science look primitive by comparison. "These aren't Velthari systems at all. This is something much older." Working alongside them was Scout Kexvar, who had become the official Velthari liaison to the human research team. His young perspective and curiosity had made him valuable in bridging the gap between the two species. "My people have legends about the architects," he explained as they examined the ancient technology. "They were said to be the first builders, the ones who left knowledge throughout the galaxy for others to find, but we always thought they were just stories." The breakthrough came when Sua managed to activate one of the ancient computer systems. The interface was unlike anything either species had ever seen, responding to thoughts and intentions rather than physical controls. When it came online, it revealed information that stunned everyone present. The computer contained star maps showing dozens of worlds where similar technology had been left behind. More importantly, it contained historical records spanning millions of years, documenting the rise and fall of numerous civilizations throughout the galaxy. The architects weren't just one species, Sua realized as she studied the data. They were a collection of advanced civilizations that worked together to preserve knowledge for future generations. High Curator Thexalon arrived at the dig site to see the discoveries for himself. As one of the oldest living Velthari, he had spent thousands of years believing his people were among the most advanced in the galaxy. Now he was learning that they were just the latest in a long line of species that had inherited ancient wisdom. These records show that the architects deliberately left their technology in places where young civilizations would eventually find it, he said, as he studied the star maps. They were trying to guide the development of intelligence throughout the galaxy. Commander Hyunwoo Kim, who had been coordinating Earth's response to the alien arrival, was amazed by the implications. "So both our species have been following a path that was laid out for us millions of years ago?" "Not following," corrected peacekeeper Zal Win, who had also come to Earth to witness the discoveries. "Building upon, the architects left tools and knowledge, but each species that found them added their own innovations and improvements. The result is that each civilization becomes unique while still being connected to this ancient legacy." The most shocking discovery came when Dr. Taehyung Yoon, the physicist who had unknowingly been working with architect principles, made a connection that changed everything they thought they knew about Earth itself. "I've been analyzing the energy patterns from the deepest part of the ship," he announced to the assembled researchers. "They match geological formations here on Earth, not formations that were created by natural processes, but formations that were artificially constructed." The implications of this discovery sent shockwaves through both species. If Earth itself had been modified by the architects, it meant that humanity's entire development had taken place on a world that was designed to nurture intelligent life. Captain Do-Yun Lee, who had been orbiting Earth in the Aurora while the discoveries were being made, was the first to voice what everyone was thinking. "Are you saying that Earth was built to create humans?" "Not built to create humans specifically," Dr. Jiwan Park clarified, "but possibly modified to make it more likely that intelligent life would develop and thrive here. The architects seem to have done this on many worlds throughout the galaxy." This revelation led to the formation of the Joint Human Velthari Exploration Council, with Commander Hyunwoo Kim and High Curator Thexlon serving as co-leaders. Their mission was ambitious, to explore the galaxy and discover other worlds where the architects had left their mark. Dr. Jiwan Park was chosen as the chief Fonter archaeologist for this new alliance, with Sua Yang serving as chief engineer. Their job would be to study and understand the various technologies and modifications the architects had left behind. The first joint expedition was launched 6 months later. Captain Do-Hyun Lee commanded a new type of spacecraft that combined the best of human and Velthari technology. The ship, named Unity, was more advanced than anything either species had built alone. Our first destination is a system 12 light-years from Earth, Do-hyun announced to his mixed crew of humans in Velthari. The architect records indicate there's a world there that was modified even more extensively than Earth. As the Unity departed on its historic mission, both Earth and the Velthari homeworld were buzzing with excitement about what might be discovered. The alliance between the two species had grown stronger, as they realized they shared not just similar technology, but a common heritage that connected them to civilizations across the galaxy. Scout Kexvar, now serving as cultural liaison aboard the Unity, reflected on how much had changed since the Velthari first returned to Earth. We came here expecting to find primitives who had stumbled across our lost property. Instead, we found partners who could help us understand our own origins. Engineer Sua Yang was working on modifications to the ship's systems when she made another important discovery. Captain Lee, I think I understand why human and Velthari improvements to architect technology have been so successful. Explain, Do-hyun requested. The architect technology wasn't just left for us to find. It was designed to respond to and enhance the natural problem-solving abilities of whatever species discovered it. It's like it learns from us and becomes better because of our input. This realization explained why both humans and Velthari had been able to improve upon technology that was millions of years old. The architects had created systems that were designed to evolve and improve through contact with new forms of intelligence. When the Unity reached its first destination, what they found exceeded everyone's expectations. The world was not just inhabited, but home to multiple species that had all discovered architect technology and learned to work together. We're being contacted by the Planetary Council, reported the communications officer. They're welcoming us to what they call the Inheritor Alliance. As Captain Do-hyun Lee prepared to make first contact with this new alliance of species, he realized that Earth and the Velthari homeworld were about to become part of something much larger than either had imagined. The galaxy was filled with civilizations that had all inherited the legacy of the architects, and now they would all have the chance to work together. Dr. Ji-won Park, studying the readings from the planet below, made one final discovery that completed their understanding of the architect legacy. The energy signatures from this world show that all the different species here have contributed something unique to the overall technology. It's not just about inheriting ancient knowledge anymore. It's about adding our own discoveries to a growing collection of galactic wisdom. As the Unity entered orbit around this new world, its crew realized they were witnessing the next phase of galactic evolution. The architects had not just left behind technology for individual species to find. They had created a system that would eventually bring all advanced civilizations together, sharing knowledge and working toward common goals. The story that had begun with aliens returning to reclaim their lost property had become something much grander. The tale of how two young civilizations discovered their place in a galaxy-wide community of intelligent species, all working together to build on the foundation left by those who had come before. Humanity had proven they belonged among the stars not through conquest or domination, but through their ability to innovate, cooperate, and contribute to the greater good of all intelligent life. The future stretched ahead of them, filled with infinite possibilities for discovery, growth, and partnership with beings they had never imagined meeting.